Was that little pause? Was that little pause after you said that? You waiting to see if I'm going to volunteer to reveal that one as well?
Oh,
Is that
you will?
no,
No.
no. We never do it twice, except for that time I
No,
did it
no, no,
twice, but
no.
it was different each time.
Wow. Okay, that was really impressive. Okay, so this is kind of funny. Someone commented on one of my videos that I came here from Spidey, which is a YouTube channel called The Behavioral Arts. And I was like, oh, who is Spidey? I need to check that out. So I went to his channel and I found an analysis of the video I did with Blake Lively and Parker Posey, the one that went viral. He is a body language analyst and he analyzed the body language of me, Blake Lively and Parker Posey in that video. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. He was so spot on with a lot of the things he said about me. So I decided to make a video about him making a video about me. And then he heard about that. So he came to my channel and he was like, hey, you know, if you ever want to do a video together, let me know. And I was like, yeah, I want to do a video with you. So this is kind of like a full circle, which I love. So I had a lot of questions for him. He had questions for me. We investigated things together. He also actually did a mentalist experiment on me, which was really annoying. Anyway, so this is what happened. Hi, Spidey. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad we were able to
Okay.
do this.
I'm so glad I found your channel with this analyze of me and this horrible interview that I did. But I'm wondering, like, what made you want to analyze that interview?
Uh, it's kind of hard for me to remember exactly what the sequence of events was, but I was getting a lot of requests in my comments like, can you cover the Blake Lively thing? Can you cover the Blake Lively thing? And a lot actually mentioned you by name and said, hey, can you analyze the interview with Kjersti Flaa because you had just released it. And I wasn't really too aware of what was going on out there. And I don't really follow Blake Lively's career that much. I'm a Ryan Reynolds fan. I like his movies. I like that little banter they have on social media. So I just always, that's the extent of what I knew. So I said, let me go check out what this interview is, this 2016 interview. And then I found your channel and, you know, you've interviewed some of my favorites and you do such a great job. And I watched that interview and there were things in it that for me were like, whoa. Like, you know, some of the stuff that we talk about, but even behaviorally, because I teach behavioral analysis, body language, there are things going on that I'm like, this is odd. Like there's these things that are happening. So it was a really interesting interview for me to cover from a behavioral standpoint. You know, it was just, and even just the way you handled certain things that we're going to talk about.
What did you think when you saw it the first time? Were you shocked? Did you expect what you saw, or was it?
No, like, so my initial thought was like, okay, what's really going on here? What's causing this? You know, like something like there's obvious negativity being introduced. That was my impression. And I just desperately was looking for some kind of explanation for it. And I kept falling short. It was mostly shock. It was mostly like, I don't really understand what would merit this kind of response. And even any explanation I could come up with to be like, okay, maybe this is how she felt about the question or the topic wasn't intense enough to merit that kind of response, in my opinion.
No.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, and the thing is, so many people have been asking me, you know, did anything happen before you started the interview? And it didn't. And I'm still like trying to figure out what could have triggered it. It's obviously the bump thing that triggered it, I
Yeah.
think. But I still don't understand why that was so triggering for her. And I
Okay,
guess
so
we'll never find out.
that's a big question that I have for you, actually. And this is something that I went back and forth with. I've been very curious about at which point in the interview you realized that there was some negativity coming from her. And the reason I wondered this is the following. When we're on YouTube and we see a title that says, the interview that almost made me quit my job, and we go, oh my God, what's this? We watch the video and our mind is primed for negativity. So we're looking for negativity. So the moment we see her come back with, congratulations on your little bump, we go, whoa, oh my God. When you walk into this interview, my assumption is that you're not primed for negativity, you're primed for positivity, a positive exchange. So you're not expecting that kind of quick jab right in the beginning. And so I was wondering, you know, we watch it and we go, oh my God, that's immediately there's this jab. I personally don't think that at that moment you quite registered that there was this negativity yet. That's what I think. I could be wrong. So did you immediately in that moment feel like, whoa, what the heck was that? Or did you just kind of, did I hear that right? And just kind of move on?
I think what you're saying, I didn't quite register it because I was like, my bump. And then they were laughing but then I felt at the moment, and then when Parker started asking me something back, like, oh, do you like Woody Allen? I felt that was kind of a little like passive aggressive, the way she asked me that, to kind of put me on the spot. So at that moment, and when they were, I don't know, it's been a while, since it actually happened. But like when you were commenting during your analysis, you were saying that my polite smile disappeared. And I remember sitting there like, because I always sit like, during interviews. But I remember getting that feeling of thinking, should I just leave? But I would never do that. But I was thinking that. I was so upset inside. But I don't remember the exact moment, because when I entered the room, you can hear in the beginning of the interview when I state my name and everything. I don't know if it's in the original that I put on YouTube, but it's like, let's start. And it was kind of the mood in there was, it was fine. But when I saw that other interview that I also sent to you the other day, I saw that they had this kind of like chit chat between them and other interviews as well that day. So maybe that was their thing already. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to answer actually exactly when it happened. I have to say.
Yeah, it seems like at first, all I could comment is like on what I see. That's what I do, and it just kind of seems like at first, it was more of a you going like, did she mean something that I don't really get? Like, is some kind of joke? Is it a reference? Like maybe an inside joke between them that I don't understand. So you kind of assumed the best and just said, okay, maybe it's just a joke. Let's move on. But then, yeah, as it progresses, even in the beginning, you have a bit of a polite smile. And I think at some point it becomes obvious when we start to see that what we call pacifiers or adapters, where it's a self-soothing gesture that you talked about. And then, we start to see that polite smile just go away. There's a clear point where I go, okay, she now knows that there's a barrier here, there's some kind of negativity here, but it wasn't immediately obvious.
Okay, so when did you realize that you actually kind of wanted to analyze people's body language? When was that like an epiphany for you?
So it's a weird history, but I'll give it in a nutshell because I don't really want to make this whole thing about that. But essentially, I've always been fascinated by human behavior, psychology, and I studied towards it. So my university degree was in sociology with a minor in psychology. So it's literally the study of how we interact with people within a society. And behavioral psychology is a big part of that. But way before that, as a teenager, I had already fallen in love with magic and mentalism as an art form, as a performance art. So, I started with cards and sleight of hand, and I still do a lot of that. But my specialty became mentalism, which is, it's a performance art, that's very important to clarify, that makes it seem like we can read people's minds. So we know things about what you're thinking and the decisions you're gonna make and how to unlock your phone and the words you're thinking of. And we know all these things about you and your life and the kind of person you are. And there's something that I used to see mentalists do when I was younger, is like they would say, for example, think of a playing card, and they would go, is it a red card? Is it a blue card? Is it a red card? Is it a black card? And then they go, oh, look, when I said red, he blinked twice. That means he's thinking of a red card. And I would go, that doesn't sound like it makes a lot of sense. So I wanted to get more into actual, like, is there real stuff out there that allows you to know, okay, is somebody trying to hide something, being a little stressed about something? Are they sad about something, happy about something? So I started studying body language at the same time as I was studying sociology and psychology. So it was this weird kind of part of my life where I was studying all these different disciplines. And then I went on to study with FBI interrogators and military interrogators, and just really hone that skill. And then what happened is it ended up making the mentalism better, because in mentalism we have something called cold reading, which is somebody comes up on stage, I know nothing about them, and just observationally I could start to know things about them. With kind of like, not just like maybe what they wear, the way they hold themselves, the way they communicate. You could start noticing subtle things, and a cold read is you kind of start to deliver that, and they're like, oh my God, how do you know these things? And that works really well within the framework of mentalism, but it's always important for me to distinguish between the fact that mentalism is based in trickery, and body language will never allow me to know the specifics that mentalism allow someone to know. Actually, I actually have something that I prepared like for you, like.
Oh no!
Just
You know, it's the worst thing I know is being tricked. I get so annoyed. Okay.
You don't like it?
I do. You know, I love hate it. It's just so annoying.
Yeah. Here we go. I'll do this.
Okay.
So, so there's a couple of things here. Let me just make sure I have. Yes. Okay. So there's a couple of things here, and one of them is actually a book that has a bunch of celebrities in it and like goofy moments, like things that they said that were not their proudest moments or little mishaps. It's called The Little Book of Celebrity Misfires. Picked it up at an airport when I was bored at some point. And each even page has a celebrity, like that one, page 2 says Justin Bieber. And then the 2-page profile on that person, and then every other even page has a different celebrity. So there's 124, just 126 celebrities in the book. Now, what's going to happen is, in your mind right now, I want you to think of any even number between 2 and 126. But not 2, because we already know that's Justin Bieber. But okay. Any other even number. Do you have one?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's no way I could possibly know that number. And there's no way you can possibly know the celebrity on that page unless you've bought and memorized this book, which I have a feeling you haven't done that. You can't possibly know the celebrity on that page. So you're now thinking of a celebrity that you don't even know you're thinking of. I'm going to try to connect with that thought. So I have an envelope here. I have an envelope with an index card. And just think of this number. Clear your thoughts completely and just think of this number. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and it's completely up to you whether you lie or tell the truth about this number. Ready? I'm going to ask you some questions about this number. Mm-hmm. Is it higher than 100?
No.
Is there a 2 in it?
No.
Is it higher than 50?
No.
Does this number mean anything to you, or it was just a random number?
No, it doesn't mean anything. I don't think it does. Maybe it does.
No, but to you, it doesn't have meaning.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with this. Yeah, like that. I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to put that in the envelope like this. And I do the envelope because like there's no way for me to manipulate that. And I'll leave it right here, leaning on the book so that it's in the background at all times. And I just want to make sure that if I'm here, okay, that's in view. Perfect. What was the number?
4.
It's 4. So 2 was Justin Bieber. We already knew that, right? I already showed you that. I'll go past it a little so we could see that like 26 would have been John Mayer, and 38 would have been Shaquille O'Neal. And these are people that I'm sure you've interviewed some of them. 42 is Bill Clinton. It's a whole bunch of celebrities. 44 is Mariah Carey. And you have a long career, so I'm sure there's a ton of names. Wesley Snipes, Cher, Hugh Grant. You could see Alec Baldwin. You could see they're all different, right?
Yeah.
Can you see that? Yeah. But you said 4. And page 4 is, who is it?
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. Have you had the pleasure of
Yes,
interviewing
I
him?
have met Tom Hanks, but I've never sat down and had a one-on-one video interview with him.
Okay, but someone that you have run into in your career.
I met him. Yeah.
Now, there's absolutely no way that I could have known you were going to say page 4. No. And you didn't even know who was on page 4, but I told you that I wrote down something on the envelope, and it was in front of you the entire time. And I'm going to do this like this so that there's absolutely no chance of me messing around with anything.
Wow.
Now hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. But hold on one sec. you might think, okay, you know, I looked at your reactions when we were talking about the numbers, and it was, you know, clearly a low number because we were giving some direct answers, or maybe, you know, it's a limited choice, only 120. So let's try this. Let's try this again. And oh my God, I chucked the envelope. This time, I'm going to ask you to think of any celebrity at all that you've personally interviewed. So I don't even know what that list is. It's probably more than 126. But just think, don't say it out loud. Just in your mind, think of one.
Okay.
You going? Let me grab another. And sorry, before you lock that in, make it somebody that you think most people would know, but not necessarily like one of the most obvious ones that like would immediately come to mind as a celebrity. So someone that you think most people would know, but not the most obvious one. Does that apply?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Unless you're like 18, maybe.
That's
Well,
okay.
now I get away.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, it's okay. I like that. That's a good clue. Just one question for you, boy or girl?
Boy. Male.
Male. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Little riskier because the pool is much bigger. Here we go. This time it's a lot more free choice and I have a lot less control because it's not limited to the names in that book. And I can't in any way guide that because some people might say, oh, I guided you towards the lower numbers in the way that I spoke. Maybe. Who's the celebrity you were thinking of?
Robert Redford.
Robert Redford. Yeah. So, you know, here's the thing though. You said people may not know him if they're like 18, but he was recently in the Avengers. He was in the second Iron Man, or well, no, he was in the second Captain America. So he's still a name that, he was in one of the Marvel movies, the second Captain America, so Winter Soldier. So it's a name that even some young people would know. But yeah, there was a time where the guy was like major celebrity. But the point is this, Kjersti, and some of the viewers are going to ask, did we talk before the interview? Did we set something up? You had no idea what was going to happen. We didn't have a chat about this at all, correct?
No, I didn't even know you were going to do this to me.
Right, I had to do this to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I do want to make sure that everything is above table and everything is super clean, because someone might say, oh, you know, I don't want them things like sleight of hand or anything. So I'll do this extremely slowly like this. Like there's no way I could be cheating that.
I'm going to kill you if it says Robert Redford. No. No. Oh my God, I can't handle this. How the what?
I don't know. Just a lucky guess.
That's so annoying. This is why I don't like this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spend all night now being awake thinking about this trick.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, so that's great. I like that you called it a trick, because it's important for people to remember that, like, no matter how much I study body language, no matter how much I study behavioral analysis and human behavior, there is no way on earth I can look at you, ask you a couple of questions, you know, is it a high number or a low number, and then know exactly what you're going to think. That has to have the trick component to it, as simple as a magic trick. And there are a lot of mentalists out there who misrepresent it, who make it seem like I'm connecting with your thoughts or the body language or this and that. Yes, body language can help me see certain things. You know, like when I have someone think of a memory, I can know if there's some negativity associated with this. Is it joy? Was it surprising? I could see these things, and it definitely helps me with my reads. But to know specifically the name that someone's going to think of, no amount of body language will ever allow anyone to know that.
Oh.
It's not like you had the eye squint of Robert Redford. It's like I saw the squint. Oh yeah, whenever anybody squints like that, it's always Robert Redford.
yeah, totally. Like so random. I was thinking about something else, someone else first actually, and then I changed my mind about it. But wow. Oh, okay.
Was that little pause? Was that little pause after you said that? You waiting to see if I'm going to volunteer to reveal that one as well?
Oh, you will?
No.
No.
No. We never do it twice, except for that time I
No,
did it
no, no,
twice, but
no.
it was different each time.
Wow. Okay, that was really impressive, I have to say. And to everyone watching, I had no idea. This was a surprise from Spidey to me. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah. Yeah. Ruining the rest of your weekend. That's my gift to you.
I know, completely. So if there's like one thing that you could tell people to look for if you to see if someone's lying to them, is there like one thing that most people do when they're lying?
So no. So that's a huge myth. It's propelled by TV shows and movies where you have a detective in a room and they go, oh, that bead of sweat, they're lying. Oh, and then everyone, they solve the mystery. So lie detection is actually really, really, really difficult. And behaviorally, not only is there not one thing that can allow you to know when someone's being deceptive, there isn't even a set of behaviors that would allow you to know for sure when someone's lying. And the reason for that is simple. There are certain things that are universal. Happiness is universal. Any community in the world you go to, show them a picture of someone who's happy, they will know the person's happy. There's no one in the world who would see someone across the bar like this and go, oh my God, that person must have had an awful day. We know happiness, we know sadness, we know disgust, we know anger. There are things that we know. We know pride. Pride looks the same everywhere in the world. We know thought. When someone's in deep thought, it looks more or less similar everywhere in the world. Blink rate goes up when I close our eyes, scrunching, so all these things. Lying isn't. Different people feel different ways about being deceptive. So some people get a little excited at the thought of getting away with it. Some people get really nervous about it. So what we look for is clusters of change. So we baseline someone, we're talking to them, we know what they normally sound like, how they normally communicate, to what extent they sell their answers. You know, some people, you get big sales pitches, some people get direct answers, and we're looking for change. So, and not just one change, because at some point you might start blinking more because your contact lens dried out. We want to look for several things. Okay, so I'm talking to this person, this is their baseline. Now I've asked this question. All of a sudden, I'm getting a lot more hesitation. They're looking around a lot more, searching for their words. Their blink rate is shooting to the roof. They're touching their face a lot more because in stress, the blood flow of the face changes. So now they're touching the face a lot more. They're giving me a lot more answer than they normally give. This is different. Does it mean it's a lie? No. It means it might be a lie. I have to ask more questions about this. So what we call clusters of deception raise the odds of deception, but we can never ever know for sure. So it's still a direction, but not a certainty. But a great tip for the viewers, like a takeaway tip, is comfort is relaxed and open. Stress is closed and small. It's so deeply embedded in our behavior that we use it in our language. Like if I say you're feeling down, it means you're not feeling great, but you jump for joy. So usually confidence looks a lot more open. It's slow, but it's tall and open. A confident person takes up a lot of space. A nervous person, and is it nervous because of deception, stress? I don't know. But nervous, stress, and negative feelings close in, and we guard things that are vital. So we might guard the neck, we might guard the wrists. All of a sudden those wrists disappear. The vital organs over here, we start blocking them, we start putting things in the way. So stress is smaller and more confined.
Do you think that actors are better at lying in general? I mean, you've analyzed a lot of actors I've seen on your channel. Do you think they're better liars?
What a terrific question. And this is something that I talk about here and then. And at some point, I really want to do a dedicated video. And the answer is this. We're all actors. Just because you chose the profession of acting in front of a camera, it doesn't make you any better at the fact that we're all social actors. We all put a mask on. We all, how are you? I'm doing great, when you're not really because you just found out some bad. We're all actors. We all have this mask. Actors, when they're doing their job, there's a setting, there's a director, there's other actors to play off, there's costumes, they have methods to get into character. They shift who they are. And it's a massive misconception to think that it's fake. It's real. They bring their real. When you see an actor, when you see Will Smith in Pursuit of Happiness on the floor crying with his son in his arms, to a certain extent, he's re-experiencing the saddest moments of his life, real sadness, and bringing into that moment. So it's not the real that's fake, it's the fake that's real, if you know what I mean. So in that scene, I look at it and I see sadness. Now, could he recreate that in an interview? Sure, but we all can. And that's what behavioral analysis tries to do, see past that mask. So yeah, actors have a certain ability to sell things a certain way, but you're still going to see things that are different from their true self. You're still going to see those signs of stress because they were humans long before they were actors. And sometimes that bursts through.
Yeah. I remember I saw you analyzing Meghan Markle in one of your videos, and you said that you always start with the eyebrows to see. But now, like, every person in Hollywood has so much Botox that they're barely moving their eyebrows. So that makes it more challenging to, I'm assuming, to read faces now, because
Of
there's
course.
not that much
Yeah.
going on sometimes.
Yeah, we don't like Botox. But what it does, it affects the baseline, right? So eyebrows is something I look for a lot because there's a lot of research on how we socially use eyebrows. We actually evolved in a way where our eyebrows gained mobility because we communicate a lot, we indicate a lot with the eyebrows. There was actually a really fascinating research where they found that if you show people pictures of celebrities' faces with the eyebrows removed or the eyes removed, which one had a high recognizability rate? So which one did they still recognize? So in one batch, it was the eyes were removed, but the eyebrows were there. In another batch, the eyebrows were removed, but the eyes were still there. And people had a much harder time recognizing the celebrities when the eyebrows were removed, with the eyes still there, which is crazy because we really use the eyebrows to communicate and we don't realize it. So it's something I do look for a lot. People tell us what's important with their eyebrows. We give importance to things. You see someone, you greet with eyebrows. This is everywhere in the world. Surprise is with the eyebrows, but it gives importance to things. So when Botox limits that, that's why I have to baseline, right? So when I'm looking at an interview, Meghan Markle's a good example. Early on, we saw those eyebrows go up. So we know, okay, they can go up. So if later I see limited movement or they don't go up, I know that they can. But when you see someone where there's no movement there, you just have to consider that in the baseline. Okay, we're gonna have to look for other stuff. The eyebrows aren't working today.
Yeah, and then, like we are now, we're cut off here. I mean, you can't see the hands or anything. I guess the hands are saying a lot. Like my hands were like during my interview where you were noticing, like I did all these little things, these little soothing things with my fingers. But when you only see the face, you don't have much to go from, I'm assuming, that because we use our bodies, so much. And I think, I use that a lot in interview situations when I sit across from someone and I notice their body language, like they might be shy and like this. And then I unconsciously, sometimes I make myself smaller like this too, to kind of have a way
Mirroring.
of communicating with them on their level,
It's a great point, and it's great that you're aware of that. And in interrogation training, we learn to be mindful of our body language because let's say, and this is a huge problem in interrogation. Let's say an interrogator is trying to solve a murder, and the topic of the murder is about to come up, because in the interrogation you start by talking about other stuff. When the topic of the murder is about to come up, and all of a sudden the interrogator notices that the person got really nervous and small and twitchy. What they don't realize is that the interrogator themselves, because they were about to talk about murder, they themselves got small and nervous and twitchy, and the person they're interrogating was just subconsciously matching their behaviors. So they're like, oh my God, their behavior changed. No, your behavior changed and they were just following your lead. So we're taught to really be mindful of ourselves remaining calm throughout the entire interview process. Because if you change your behavior, it can affect the person in front of you. But it's great that you use it the opposite way to create more of a comfort by matching their energy. And then what you'll find is when you match that and you create that connection, as you relax, they'll relax.
Yeah. And the opposite. If someone's very like, wow, loud, you have to be kind of, mirroring their energy to be, because if you sit there and be like, oh, then, it's just going to be awkward. So then you have to try. I always try to match the energy in the room and read the room, I guess.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't always work, as you know.
No, the way I describe it is I'm very realistic about it. I don't want to spread the rumor that body language allows you to know exactly what someone's thinking. I hate that. What I compare it to is meteorology or the weather. With the weather, They look at patterns and they look at what's likely to happen given other times this happened. And they go based on what we think and what we've seen before, this is what we think is going to happen. Are they always right? No. Do they get it wrong a lot? Yeah, they get it wrong. It's the same. If I see someone doing a set of behaviors and I go, that's consistent with them trying to hide something. Could it be that they're not? Absolutely it could be. It's just every time I've seen that in my experience, something was trying to be, or most times, something was trying to be concealed. So that's my best guess. So it's kind of like the Weather Channel of behavior, you know?
But you really, I mean, you were spot on with like everything that I saw that you analyzed with the way I was acting in my interview. I feel like you were really spot on. I was like, oh yeah, that's true. But there were things that I never thought about. Like I was mentioning, I didn't think about the blinking, but when you said the blinking, that I started blinking more, I was like, yeah, I did. And no, it's very interesting. Thank you for doing that, by the way.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And thank you so much for this amazing conversation. I think we've added some more context. It's been fun, and we've addressed a lot of the questions and theories that people had. Was she told not to bring this up? Maybe she didn't want to talk about it. And I love that we had a chance to kind of sit down and really kind of follow up and kind of tighten those loose ends.
No, I think that this has been so amazing. I'm so fascinated by everything you do, by the way. I've been browsing around on your channel. Like, it makes you more conscious of the way you're acting yourself and like, yeah, I see he's lying. Yeah,
You know what's funny about that? You know what's really funny about that? I'm a terrible liar. I'm a really bad liar.
Me too, me too. Yeah. I'm awful. I just feel like, I remember I saw this, it was actually an FBI investigator who had a masterclass or something that I did during COVID. And he said that people have these like micro moments in their face of discomfort when you're lying. Like you can't really see it unless you're looking for it, but people face will change a little, like you see that they're, oh, this is uncomfortable for me. But I feel like I have like macro moments like that. I just like, even lying about the smallest thing is just like,
it's unbelievable.
I hate it.
People tell me all the time, like, oh, you've studied this, so you must be a good liar. I'm a terrible, terrible liar. Of course, on stage, when I'm doing magic or mentalism, naturally, because I know I have permission to lie, I can lie, But outside of that, in day-to-day life, I'm such a bad liar because I hate deception. It's a big part of the reason I got into what I do. I hate deception. Like, so I'm not good at it because I go, why not just be honest and just tell you what's going on and we'll figure it out. It's fine. I don't like it.
Thank you so much for doing this. This has been so much fun and very insightful. Thank you for all your analysis and for all this extra information. And yeah, this has been really, really, really amazing. Thank you.
It was a blast, a pleasure. And I'm so glad we did this and connected because of the viewers. And any time you did an interview and you have the footage and you're wondering what was going on here, don't hesitate. Reach out. We'll talk about it. We'll collab.
Bad ones laying around that I can send to you.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Thank you so much. It was amazing. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.